So now, let's talk about how to watch data in the composition API, and we'll start with the reactive helper method. We're back in our counter example, and you can see that I've defined a watch option on the bottom, where it's watching the count and logging the current and the old value. So how do we do this inside of the composition API? Well, we have another helper method we need to learn about called watch. Now that we've imported our watch helper method, we can utilize it inside of our setup method. As you can see, the first argument is the value we want to watch, and then the callback function just like before, where we're logging the current and old value. Let's go ahead and consolidate those so that we have a little bit more space. And then we also need to switch out count for state.count. Now, because we're using the reactive helper method, we actually need to use an anonymous function to return the value of state.count. Otherwise, it won't work. The other thing to understand is that this works with simple data types, like string and numbers. But when we want to watch something like a list where it has an array of numbers, this is a little different. And because we want to watch what's happening inside of the array, we need to return a brand new array with the state.list destructured inside of it. Now, what about watching something with ref? In our new example here, count is being... In our example now, in this example, count is made reactive by using the ref helper method. And while we needed an anonymous function for reactive helper methods, when we use a ref, we no longer need the arrow function. And while this might seem simpler, when we need to watch something like an array, we now need the arrow function just like before, with the list destructured. And on top of that, because it's a ref, we also need to append .value. Now that you understand the basics of watch, let's code together. To follow along, let's go ahead and check out the watch begin branch and open our code in VS Code. Let's go ahead and open up our app.view and go down to our watch section. Let's go ahead and cut that so we can move that into our setup function. And so I'll paste it right here. And then we'll need to import watch from our helper methods up here. Now that we have our watch helper method, let's go ahead and update what we have, copy and paste it down here. So we are currently wanting to watch active screen. And so active screen is currently being managed inside of state, as we can see right here on line 72. So this means we're going to need our getter method. So basically we need our arrow function to then return state.activeScreen. Then remember, we get two values, the current and the old value, but we only need the current screen. So I'll call it current screen. And this is what the callback function will run for our watched property. So I can copy this over, delete this. And then the only thing we need to do now is update this .gameComplete to state.gameComplete. And oh, before I forget, we need to match our screen to current screen. Then we can save. And when we jump over to our browser, we can see that it looks like everything is working as anticipated. Now, if you want to get some practice on your own, here's your code challenge. Check out the watch challenge branch and use the composition API to manage watch in passwordgame.view. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.